everyone, back again another video. This time it is another Red Dwarf review. This time I came back and I said, you know what, for my second ever one of these type of videos, I'm going to do Thanks for the Memory. Now this one is an interesting one. Definitely didn't make too much of an impression on me the first time I watched it, but definitely the second time and the third time. And after I've come back to it now, I started bowled over and actually really liked this episode. And I'm going to go and explain some of the synopsis first off, background, and then we're going to go in and get details of pros, cons, and all of that sort of thing. So, Thanks to the Memory from Red Dwarf was the third episode of Series 2, aired in 20th of September 1988. This is the same year that Series 1 came out, just a little later that year. Basically, this episode revolves around Lister and Rimmer, and what happens is that it's a very drug night for the two, and they're out there talking, and Rimmer goes across and talks about his one person he's had a problem relationship with, the one girl, and that how he's not really had much of a love life, and his life. We get a bit into his love, and it's a great conversation between the two. Rimmer Lister takes pity on Rimmer for what he feels, and Rimmer says, which is sort of something deeper for his character, which actually makes this one of my favourite episodes for Rimmer, regarding the deepness that he can show and just the different sides of his character. And here he is talking about how he wanted to be loved and to love someone else, and how that never really happened to him, and he feels like it'll never happen because he's a hologram in the middle of space and human race is pretty much extinct. And so it's an interesting concept as this story takes hold, which actually it does, and it's a great story. So yeah, he reveals all to Lister that night, goes to bed, and they wake up and it's all really confusing because they find out basically that they wake up and they're all confused. Lister has a broken leg, Cat comes in with a broken leg, and they're really confused. You can tell after what they suppose was Saturday night yesterday, and then they find out that the puzzle being done, there's been big aliens footprints on the what should I say, on like the moon or something, and also Holly has no memory of any of this happening, or any of the crew do. And they also figure out that some pages have been ripped out of Lister's diary, and this is where the story starts to take hold. They're very confused, and they decide to go look for the black box. So they go out and try to find the black box. And let me just say that it's quite an interesting, concept. Watching for this the first time, definitely you'll be sort of brought into it, and yet it is a very unique concept for Red Dwarf. If you watch most of the episodes, you'll notice that this episode really has some sort of defining theme to it, and it's a sort of deeper theme. But also, there's this style of episode that it takes on. Not the usual type of episode, in my opinion. It's quite mystery orientated, but it's got a solemn tone, which a lot of these episodes in Series 2 took on. But it's also like Series 2 episodes. It's quite different to each other, and also it feels mysterious, and I don't know. It feels different for me, and I don't know. Anyway, so we find out in a black box recording that it's been 4 days of missing memories, and it says in the memory of Lisa Yates. And basically what happened was Lister gave Rimmer some 8 months of his memory to take pity on him, and it was sort of his birthday. It was a present. This is one of these rare times where they sort of were nice to each other for Rimmer's death day, as they call it, and it was sort of a celebration at the beginning of the episode. I'll talk about that in a minute, but so he gets those memories. He starts to think that it was actually his real memories, but how he tries and believes it, but you really know that he's sort of at a loss of logic, as it's not him, it's obviously Rimmer. It's obviously Lister, and yes, he sort of discovers this, and you know, it all kind of gets revealed as Lister sort of recalls these memories as well, as somehow he remembers them. I don't know how that works, but yeah, so he finds out, and he wants to get rid of those memories. So yes, they do. They put it in it. They take away all the memories that they had from those 4 days. I'm not sure how they do that. Yeah, they erase their memories, and they wake up, and that's sort of where the story goes. And that, you know, it finishes off. Yeah, it does actually present itself very well. My favourite part is the first act, which is sort of just leading up to when they discover these things have happened. Yeah, it's a very interesting watch, because the whole way through you're feeling quite sad for the characters, and you're discovering different sides of them, and also you're figuring out, well, what the heck has happened here. And it's interesting because not only do we see Rimmer start to, you know, contemplate his life and his love life, and you know, that's sort of the first layer of the story, you know, him finding out it's not real, and also, you know, it's seen in the first act where he's just talking about his life and how Lister is so much better than him. But as we see the story go on, we figure out that Lister feels bad for himself as well. He not only for Rimmer, but for himself, because, well, he treating this girl pretty badly, and he wasn't taking the relationship seriously, I guess, and he feels bad for what he did, and he wants to change what he did in the past. Yeah, it's got those sort of themes in it, which I actually think is very, very deep, even for Red Dwarf. It seems quite a mammoth tackle, and they tackled it well. They tackled the subject matter well, and also it was done in a sort of humorous way. During the first act, but it also kind of got a little sadder as it went on. It already had that tone running through it, and that's why I said it felt different. One of those reasons was, for that reason alone, it had a different tone. What else do I have to say? But it was actually a really, really good episode. I definitely recommend, if you haven't watched any of the Red Dwarf episodes, go watch this one. If not, obviously watch the pilot first. But this is one of the other episodes you should watch if you're not really that interested in the show, because it's great to see two main characters have these, and it has a brilliant talk to those guys. I was talking about the first scene. It was him talking about a sandwich. It was one of those scenes. It's a very memorable scene, I think, and it really shows Rimmer's character. And Rimmer is probably my favourite out of all the characters in the show, for the fact that he feels like a very fleshed out, multi-layered, dimensioned character who has brilliant speeches and has a great chemistry with Lister. It feels kind of on edge, but also at the same time they can have good, you know, bonding moments together as well. Not in the way that you would expect Rimmer, but he just can show many aspects to his own character. It's brilliant. Brilliant played by Craig Charles, and also by Chris Barry, I'm pretty sure, is Rimmer. Yeah, they were brilliant. Also, we got introduced to some cool things like a dream recorder and what else? Yeah, what else? The whole flashbacks are pretty good with Lisa Yates. That's kind of funny as well, and some jokes, maybe not intent. Like the jokes didn't really need to be in this episode. It's kind of a good episode where the jokes just took a back seat to the drama that was going on ahead of it. Yeah, we had a few little jokes in there, dropped in, you know, just to lighten the mood slightly. And yeah, I think I really enjoyed Holly in this episode. To say about him, he had a good role. He loved to, you know, explain stuff. Had a fun joke as well. So yeah, he worked well in this episode because he sort of got that sort of serious tone, and it worked well. I just thought it was pretty perfect episode actually, and Holly was quite suited to this one. Right, cons of this episode. You know, I've pretty much pro'd the whole episode. The cons that really popped up for me, one of them being the fact that I don't know. I just found a little fault here that I have to point out. Obviously, Lister, Lister, Dave Lister. How does he remember the memories, even though he gave over 8 months? I didn't really see the concept of him remembering it, and yeah, the whole idea that he gives these memories to him, but then he still remembers them. I know it felt kind of weird because he shouldn't really have remembered them if he already gave his memory over, and so that didn't make sense. What else do I have to think about this episode? Yeah, I don't know. It was fun. Some little scenes were fun, and I liked the out of the Red Dwarf as well. That was good. What else? Oh yeah, the sandwich scene. The sandwich scene at the end was good, but it made it a little. It was kind of weird, I have to say. It was sort of like a bad explanation, really. But no, it made sense, yeah. But I don't know. The sandwich scene was kind of weird. What else? Oh yeah, it seemed a bit illogical that 4 days had passed where they were doing the whole thing. The main part of the story, body lied in 4 days. It felt like about 1 or 2 days. So that was sort of, these are things that really are nitpicking, but also, you could look deeper into the story and see, well, some of the stuff would have completely changed the story. Oh yeah, one other problem I did have was they sort of made it out to be more than it actually was. Like, they were all confused about what was happening, but really it didn't feel like too much was at stake there. So they were like making a big fuss, and it really wasn't that much to fuss about. Like, they were like 4 days missing, some of my diary is missing, and the puzzle has been completed. Yeah, it just didn't feel like a major issue. I mean, obviously the black box was not there, but they could easily locate it, so there wasn't like anything on the line there. It was more just about emotions, and I know that isn't really a disadvantage to the episode, and it doesn't take away from the enjoyability, but it's just some of these things that after repeat viewings you may find a little bit annoying, or like just making the episode a little bit unrealistic. And you really want these episodes to be as realistic as possible, but really if you focus on the main points, yeah, it does make it a great episode. And so I would give it an A. An A. It's good, great, one of my favourite episodes from series 2, if not from the whole series. Is not like probably in my top 10 maybe. Right, so that's been it for me. Make sure to comment, like, favourite, and subscribe, and also give me your opinions on this episode and future episodes you want me to do. I'm going to be doing these now and again. I don't know if I'm going to do them on a weekly basis or bi-weekly, but they'll be coming out. And if you like, comment below, I'll probably put one up just especially for you if you want to see them. So thank you guys for watching. This has been me, and yes, I recommend, if you're starting out watching the show, watch this episode. It's a good one to watch. So thank you once again, and enjoy.